What exactly has the system of school turned into? Before I share my opinion, let me take the time to thank all the good teachers out there who do their truest best to help their student become valuable to the society. I am very grateful to all of you for your time and energy spent on student every day. Thank you very much. Now let me dive into the reason I chose to talk about school today. How did humanity reach this level where we've gotten comfortable enough to send our children to the same place we were sent to? A room where they're told not to move, talk, eat, sleep, or do anything unless it's time to do so. Where the only dictator for the rest of their schooling life throughout the whole day is the school system, knowing very well that not every child operate the same as the other. A room where they teach 60% of time-wasting stuffs that don't even apply to real-life survival skills. And when the children don't perform well, they grade them with numbers and alphabet that classifies them as dumb and smart. Every scientist will tell you that no two brain is the same, and parent with more than one children will confirm this claim. You see, teachers have the most important job on this planet, yet most of them are underpaid. No wonder most teachers are fed up with taking their time to teach. All they do now is to lecture the student and go, whether the child understands the topic or not. It's up to them to learn by themselves, but you see, teachers aren't the problem here. It's the education system that suffocates them and leaves them with less choice. And in the end, it's the student that suffers and bears the consequences. There's this saying that knowledge is power. But have you ever asked yourself what kind of knowledge is being referred to in the statement? There are many kinds of knowledge in this world, and believe me, the type that gives you power isn't even taught in school. Only two types of people know what I'm talking about as related to the kind of knowledge that gives power. An example of this type of people is the government. The other type, you should find that out for yourself. When I speak of the government, I don't mean the current president ruling your country. No, I mean the people in power. You know them don't act so ignorant now. They're the ones who structured and allowed the school system to be this way. School has turned into a factory where robots are created and usually aren't allowed to think outside of the box, but are only supposed to live and die just inside the box. The worst state an individual, especially a student, can be in is the state where they don't even know they're in a box to begin with. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying school is not good. It'll be like saying education is not good, because school is basically another word for the term educate. So for me to say school is not good is like me saying education is not good, but rather the education system is not good. If you do the research by yourself, you'll realize that the things we've used in the past are all updated to what we now call the modern lifestyle. An example will be the communication device called cell phone, which you're using to watch and listen to this right now. Transportation devices like cars, ships, planes, and many more. My point here is, how did so many things upgraded, yet the education system is still the same? Go into a classroom and you'll see little to no changes. That should raise a concern, because as the world is evolving from old ways to new and more comfortable style, why did the school system remain the same after so many years till date? Technology has made many things in the human life to be easy, but the education system still chooses to play hard for children. In most schools, the pupil learned from a book and never got to do anything like practical nor experiment, so they turn out to be book knowledge with zero experience, making it difficult for them to even get a job, because most of the job requirement demand some type of experience to be able to hire people, which they never had due to lack of infrastructures, furniture, textbooks, many subject but fewer teachers in schools, and many more. As said earlier, that not all brains have the same IQ. So with that, the school system could introduce different learning methods to help the lower IQ student to better understand what's being taught. Rather than forcing them to understand, they could teach them to understand using learning methods like practical, visual, auditory, verbal, physical, social, solitary, and many more. Sending a child to a specific place to study for 8 to 9 hours things he or she has less interest in is equivalent to wasting 8 to 9 hours of their time away. Before a child is sent to school to study a course, the education system should first figure out the child's interest, their strengths and weaknesses with a particular subject, so they can mold them in the field fit for them, rather than forcing them to adapt to the varieties. When it comes to examination, it's a form of test set to fail student intentionally, the unfair system that makes students stay in class for 8 to 9 hours, learning varieties of 8 to 9 subjects with many subtopics from textbooks, and by the end of the day, all they're taught is forgotten, due to the brain being overloaded with many information on a daily basis, and not just that. The pupils are expected to know everything in the books before exams, or else they'll fail. Now let me ask you this. If I put a coin in a room, and I ask you to go into that room and search for the coin within a given time without telling you where exactly I placed it, and if you're not able to find it, it means you failed. Will you be able to find it? But if I were to tell you where exactly I placed it in the room, no matter how big the house is or the time constraint too, you'll at least have an idea of where to look and where not to look, rather than keeping you in a confused state where you're only searching places that your mind suggests they might be in. So tell me, are you a failure because you couldn't find the coin, or you failed due to the fact that I set you up for failure without giving you any information about what you're supposed to do and not do? That's exactly how exams are made. You're expected to learn everything which is impossible to do so that you'll be able to pass your exams, which was intentionally set to fail you. I've been a student before, and what I've come to realize is that most students give it their all to be able to pass their exams, because with examinations, you can learn a lot of things from text and notebooks, but nothing related to what you learn will come on the question paper. So unluckily for that student, it's a day of failure, and on other days too. What you learn is exactly what will show on the question papers. So basically, students shouldn't be classified as smart or dumb due to the way the system of examination is made, but rather the lucky and the unlucky. But in all too, it goes both ways. School aims at the objective of making a brighter future for the younger generation so that they'll become useful to society, or so they say. But looking at the statistics of the youth that we see are all different pictures. Many young people are struggling with mental health issues, unemployment, and a sense of aimlessness despite having gone through the education system. This raises questions about whether the current system is truly effective in preparing students for real life, or if it's simply putting undue pressure on them without equipping them with practical skills and knowledge. Examinations are meant to assess knowledge and learning, but the way they are often designed and implemented can indeed seem more like a setup for failure than a fair assessment. Students are bombarded with information from multiple subjects, expected to retain and understand everything, and then tested in a way that may not reflect their true understanding or abilities. This high-stakes environment can lead to stress, burnout, and a focus on rote memorization, rather than genuine learning. In the coin analogy, if you're not given any clues about where the coin is, finding it becomes a matter of luck rather than skill or knowledge. Similarly, if exams test students on material that was not adequately covered or understood, success can feel like a matter of chance. This does not mean that students are incapable or lack intelligence. Rather, it highlights flaws in the system that fail to account for different learning styles, paces, and the realities of cognitive overload. A more effective educational system might focus on continuous assessment, practical application of knowledge, and teaching critical thinking and problem-solving skills. This would help ensure that students are not just memorizing information for a test, but are truly understanding and able to apply what they learn. In summary, the current examination system often fails to measure true understanding and capability, instead fostering a cycle of stress and superficial learning. By reevaluating how we assess students and focusing on more holistic and supportive approaches, we can better prepare them for real-world challenges and help them develop into well-rounded, capable individuals. To my belief, it is only in a madman's world that one uses fake theories to deal with real-life situations. You're probably wondering what this real-life situations are, huh? Well, you see, we're the only beings capable of causing trouble and lots of negativity in this world. And luckily, we're the only beings who can stop all the troubles and negativity. We can literally make this earth a living paradise. But no. Let go to school to find X and Y whilst we watch the world crumble down as we wait and hope for a hero to come and save us. If morality was to be taught in schools, wouldn't we have high rate of morally good individuals? These are just examples, you can add yours too. If morality were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a higher rate of morally good individuals? If true history were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a generation where everyone knows their past as a people, and, with the knowledge of the past, live a better life in the present and, in return, create a better future? If relationships were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a generation where people have a better understanding of what a relationship is before entering one, thus having a better chance of finding the right partner or friend, and in return, reducing the rate of heartbreaks, divorces, and possibly deaths or abuses? If psychology were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a generation where people have a better understanding of themselves and their fellow humans? If financial literacy were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a generation that makes smarter financial decisions, leading to reduced debt and increased financial stability? If environmental science were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a generation that is more aware of the importance of sustainability and, in return, work towards a healthier planet? If conflict resolution were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a generation equipped with the skills to handle disagreements and disputes peacefully, reducing violence and promoting harmony? If mental health were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a generation that recognizes the importance of mental well-being, leading to reduced stigma, better mental health outcomes, and more supportive communities? If communication skills were taught in schools, wouldn't we have a generation that is better at expressing themselves clearly and listening to others, thereby improving personal and professional relationships? The point here is, if you want a world where there's goodness, then start pointing out and removing the bad. A hero once said, "We're the world, we're the children, we're the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives." There's more to say, but I'll end my words here. I hope you now have a clearer understanding of what you're into the moment you become part of the education system. If there's any student listening to this now, I'll advise you learn as much as you can to your best potential and let the rest play out as it meant to. And to the teachers, you've already been through the system, so do your part and create beneficial individuals that can change the future of the system rather than creating a mindless robots. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more. Guess what my next topic will be in the comment section. Whoever gets it right will get a shout out in my next upload. Don't forget to like and follow, it helps and motivates me to do more of this. Thank you.